Hello, everyone. It's Boss. I'm the lead developer with Crimson Eclipse Game Studio. I'm going to talk about our latest game coming up. I feel these would be a very good video just to kind of go through the process and development and watching ideas come to reality. So it's kind of cool to go over. One of our philosophies is having these game Bibles put into place of outlining exactly what the game is going to be before we actually make it. So it removes any sort of like creep, gives an idea of the direction we're going, and we can stay true to the original idea instead of getting scope creeped. This game's going to be called Deepest Delve. It's an endless survivor roguelike built around pressure-based dungeon exploration. So the original idea behind it was taking the vampire survivor combat, where running around picking up power ups and avoiding enemies, but mixing that with Diablo 3's Hell mode, the Hell runs, where at least for the later levels it came just down to completing them as quickly as possible. So I thought those two would be a very cool matchup to put together. That's what the design of the game is kind of going to be played like, is going through floors as quickly as possible to get to higher level floors to get better loot to continue going deeper into more floors. Um, Ideally, we're going to be on Steam Early Access. $5.99 probably is the pre-launch. We might adjust that number, but that's probably what we're looking at, with 3 main classes. So this is the game Bible, is the canonical statement of what the Deepest Delve is intended to be. Future design, implementation, discussions should conform to this document. Here's all the contents for it, but we're going to go through it piece by piece. Here's the 1-paragraph summary. Deepest Delve is a single-player, top-down dark fantasy action roguelite which players descend through an endless sequence of procedurally generated dungeon floors, automatically attack and control power, destroy rapidly spawning enemies, while 4 fixed class abilities provide manual tactical control. Opening doors reveal large, interconnected rooms, activating new monster systems, and permanently expands the battlefield. Players gain experience, gold, and stat upgrades and powers, then decide how much danger to create before finding the exit and descending. Run ends only on death, followed by a run summary and permanent class progression. So here's our target dates: commercial model, Steam Early Access expanded for a full release, periodic updates expanding the game, adding more classes, touching up, fixing, adding more stuff. Planned early access price probably $5.99 is what we're looking at. Develop target 2026 by the end of. Public proof point one. We'll probably do just the warrior class for an itch.io demo. It won't have a whole lot to it, just the proof of the game that it exists in its main core loop with just the warrior. May release that as a demo as well on Steam, and then have the full game as well for purchase, but the demo will be free. Platform PC first, controller support is going to be at launch when we go full launch. Session structure, endless score chasing runs, deepest floors, and survival time. So it's going to be pretty much challenging yourself to go deeper, to go further. Getting class experience. Class experience will give you permanent buffs to make the early game easier and have you scale harder to go further. And the original idea is that there's not going to be an end. There's not going to be an end to the dungeons. It's technically infinite. It's just going to be more and more difficult to reach. Same thing at levels, that you'll be infinitely leveling up. Primary genre as action roguelike survivor-like. Secondary identity dungeon crawler or traditional RPG stats. So you'll have your strength, you'll have your strength, your intelligence, your dexterity, your speed. I think you're going to have the luck stat as well with some other stats. So anytime you would level up like you would for a traditional roguelike, you would get a random roll of buffs you could get. You also get stat points that you can put into place. The Diablo influences atmosphere, the dungeon descent, classes, stat rolling, and rising danger. It's not necessarily equipment management. I thought the equipment management was too much, so we're not going to implement that. The game is designed for rapid release, followed by content expansions during early access. Design pillars and gameplay loop. Exploration creates danger. So when you enter a room, it's going to start spawning monsters, and those monsters will keep spawning periodically. So monsters don't start spawning till you enter the room. but you need to keep exploring to hit more rooms to spawn more monsters to find the exit to go to the next floor. So every room that you open could have more loot, but it's also going to start spawning more monsters. You could find the exit early, and you could double back and try and open up some more rooms, but that's going to spawn more monsters. Right? Which is no big deal if you're killing them quickly, but if you're starting to get behind, you can end up trapping yourself and getting a game over. Your build's primarily going to be through pickups. That's what your main power is going to come from. But your abilities as well will be able to scale from your stats that you accumulate. Avoid, control, destroy is pretty much the main thing. Is where you're not trying to take damage. You're trying to avoid damage and do as much damage as you can to everything around you so it gets out of your way. So the core gameplay loop is you'll select a class, begin your run, you'll enter the current floor and open the door to revealed rooms. Each revealed room becomes visible, activates its monster spawning, and joins the navigatable dungeon. Fights, pursuing enemies, collect experience gems and occasional gold, level up and choose among 3 upgrades. It's pseudo-random. It's not going to be exactly random because I've had other games where I've played that they had, I'm going to go for a very certain build, and I get unlucky at the start, and I just not getting stuff for that build once I find one piece of it. So it's pseudo-random. There'll be percentages of what you can get based off what you have. You spend gold on the tiered chest, the color chest. Every color will have a different level attached to it, or a different rarity attached to it of what it will drop. And your level ups will also be spent in gold. Find the exit room, choose whether to descend or continue exploring the room, defeat every boss every 5th floor and claim loot. Repeat as difficulty rises continuously. Die, review, run summary, applies class experience, and return to the main menu. So the core tension of the game is, do I open more rooms for experience, gold, and chest, or do I leave and activate before the dungeon overwhelms you? So it's the choice that you got to make. Do I want to keep exploring, keep getting this experience from these characters, or do I want to go to the next floor, get more experience, and try to get higher level loot, but they're going to be more difficult for you to kill? So it's kind of like a tightrope what you're running. Camera movement, it's going to be top down. It's going to be WSAD, moving in free dimension. Not 3. Yeah, so it's going to be top down. You'll be moving in every potential angle. So not just a square, but in an 8. Combat model's class primary attack is going to be fully automatic and targets the closest enemy. 4 class abilities are activated manually with the 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys. Well, ability 3 on every class is always going to be a mobility, which grants temporary and vulnerability. And then, of course, all of the skills have cooldowns as well with them. Every mobility is going to be a little different. It kind of depends on the class. For the warrior, we have it outlined right now to be a charge, so it's going to be knocking everything away in your path. While you're casting and using, you are invulnerable. Enemy contact deals damage, subject to player dodge, block, and post-hit vulnerability frame. So if you get blocked, you're not just going to instant die from being hit. You'll have a couple seconds of invulnerability to move away, get out of that position, and try and rebound, not just insta die. Ordinary attacks do not cause hit, stun, or interruption, though explicit stun effects may do apply. We have plans for heavy hitting enemies, and we may add a stun effect on some of them, or we're also going to have elite enemies, which will come down later, talk a bit more in depth. Temporary movement, slow movement, communicate impact through without removing control. Critical hits apply through statistics. Attack connects when collision occurs. Defense, dodge, resolve by the player. So even your abilities can critically strike. I love critical strike in these kind of games. It's high risk, high reward. If you get lucky, you get lucky. If you don't, then game over. Let's try again. Combat readability and capacity. So I'm thinking, since it's going to be a max of 10 rooms per floor, it's going to be a max of 100 active enemies. I think any more than that is foolish. When this cap is reached, additional spawning stops until capacity becomes available. Ordinary enemies should die quickly. Pressure comes from quantity, movement, and attack patterns. So you're pretty much going to be always moving, trying to loop around, keep them away from your access points from where you need to escape from, but also be able to kill them quickly enough that you can make those if you have to. Damage number and health bars appear when a target is damaged, then hide. Effects should be low detail, particularly transparent. Some effects will be because it's going to be a lot going on all at once. Any cooldown reductions will have a hard cap of 80%. Combat priority, the intended priority order is crowd management, positioning, then build construction. So the main thing is what you're looking for to play through is to survive. So you'll be managing the crowd of how many enemies you'll have exactly around you and to position yourself where you can escape those or kill those. But then ultimately it's going to be how well your build does, so what gets you further. You can always have good management of crowds, and that will probably get you pretty far. But eventually you will hit a hard wall where if your build isn't good, then you're just going to not make it. Interaction sets includes chests. We're going to have some breakable environment props such as pots, vases, and barrels. Sometimes they'll have pickups in them, and it's pretty much on contact. If you walk through them, they pick up. So easy peasy on them. Classes and ability. Each class is fixed character with unique starting stats, 1 automatic primary attack, and 4 fixed abilities. So here's the warriors, which we have set out right now, and this might change a little bit. Because we just based on testing. So he has 1 key heavy area attack, full spin. So he'll do a full spin all around him, damaging everything in his area. 3, he'll charge into a particular path, knocking everything away. And then 4, we're thinking like a rain of swords, a large area sword barrage where they just kind of fall, doing massive damage. Strength is going to be his main damaging scaling attribute. The ranger, that's going to be another one of our classes. Precision shot. Don't really have a whole lot on this just completed just yet, where we're mostly focusing on the warrior. The ranger is going to have a precision shot. It's probably going to be shooting through. Multi-shot will do like a 3 in a 3 pattern away from them. Their mobility attack is going to be a back shot, so they'll fire forward but move backwards. So they'll wherever they land, they'll do damage. Wherever the shot lands, it will do damage. So that'll be kind of cool. Don't have an ultimate just yet for them. Of a mage, they'll have all elemental based abilities. Their main one's going to be fireball, which is projectile shooting. That will be a small AoE. Have a fire ability, probably an ice, electric, and they'll do their ultimate will be, I don't know, something magical. Again, we're focusing mostly on the warrior right now. Let's take a look at the stats. So we have for our primary stats, strength, dexterity, intelligence, vitality, and speed. I wanted to make sure I had speed on there. A lot of times speed doesn't get added or gets added to dexterity, but I like it being its own stat. For offense, we have damage, attack speed, critical damage, critical chance, critical damage, projectile count, area, duration. For defense, maximum health, armor, block chance, dodge, chance, health regeneration, and lifesteal. For utility, we have movement speed, cooldown reduction, pickup radius, luck, and experience gain. Run level resets on death, so every time that you die, you'll be gaining experience based on how well you did for your class. Your class will gain permanent buffs based off its total level, but you'll be starting over from square one, essentially. That's what unlocks the permanent progression, class-specific experience, and class levels. Which is just supposed to make the early game easier and have you scale a little harder to get further. You can make riskier decisions like skipping floors. We already talked about the rooms. Exit generation, again, it's going to be, rooms will exist, but they won't have anything in them. They won't be active. So we're always going to have a max of 10 rooms, and the exit chance is going to scale based off every. So, I mean, you could get lucky. Probably the first room you go will be a 0% chance that the next one will be the exit. Then probably the one after that will be 20, then 25, and you'll just keep increasing until you're on floor. You have 9 active rooms. Once you're on 9 active rooms, the next one you open up, no matter what, will be 100%. And they'll open up the portal to the exit, which you can choose to go into if you want, or you can hang out a bit longer. So it'll just be procedurally connecting rooms. Difficulty escalation. So the difficulty rises continuously across the run and does not reset per floor. Enemy strength is derived from dungeon depth, elapsed runtime, and player level. So all three of those, we're going to do a calculation, and it's going to be dependent on those three on how difficult the enemies are. It's going to be just keep scaling their stats. So if you wanted to, you'll get more experience for killing higher level monsters, stronger monsters. So if you have a lower player level and you're deeper in the dungeon, you'll end up getting more experience because this is higher, right? But they're always going to, you can't just not stop moving us down the floor because they're always going to be getting stronger because the elapse time. Elapse time. Let's see here. Enemies, bosses, and biomes. So there'll just be a normal monster. They're just there to slowly walk at you, do minuscule damage, pretty much be the cannon fodder. A fast monster, that one has lower health, but it's pretty quick. It'll be running you down. Ranged ones, again, it's a lower health one, but it'll have a ability to fire projectiles from a reasonable range. So you have to watch out for their positioning. A slow, strong monster, durable, high threat. So he moves pretty slowly. He probably takes up extra space and does a little extra damage. And then we have our bosses. So there's right now we're doing for 3 biomes. We're doing forest, hell, I think graveyard, if I remember correctly. I gotta look at it again. Those are the 3 main ones. We'll have a boss for every one of those specific ones, and it's just gonna be random on which one you get when you hit that 5th floor. Every 5th floor. We talked about the biomes. Experience gems. So monsters will drop, ordinary monsters drop experience gems and occasional gold coins. Elite monsters are guaranteed to have drops. So elites are just normal monsters, but with modified stats. They may even have additional abilities to make them a little more challenging. They'll have more health for certain, but they'll drop loot by themselves. So it's kind of like a mini boss. Encountering those again are random when they spawn. Bosses will always drop high rarity stuff, but you're only ever going to encounter them on every 5 levels. Chest stat upgrades, power pickups, upgrades, and cursed powers. We're considering cursed powers as well. Have high upsides and bad downsides. But you have the pot, faces, and barrels. Those have a low chance of loot. They'll probably have a higher chance of gold. Gold is the only run currency that resets on death. Gold accumulates without a cap and carries between floors. Gold opens chests and pays for level up rerolls. So every level up, if you want to reroll, you don't like what you got, I can pay gold that you've accumulated through the dungeon and just reroll and try and get something else that you want. Healing potion. It's going to have a Diablo-style refillable potion. The potion will refill periodically, but will be replenished faster from kills. So they'll drop little health orbs that will refill you up a bit quicker. Chests will spawn, so every floor layout will have the possibility of a floor, a chest spawning, and it'll just be based on percentage. It'll be completely random. Say there's a spot in the middle of every single floor where there could be a chest. We'll just run a 5-10%, something like that. So every one you open up could open one. Could have one there for you to open. Again, the power-ups are automatic. You pick them up when you run into them. UI and menu structure. So pretty much have a main menu. But you have your start, which is your class selection. You choose what class you want to go for your delve. You have a class progression and lock class window. That's so where you're at in your class that you're playing. We'll have a bunch of achievements to be able to go for, stats and best run records. That will be, right now it's planned to just be personal, but once we get on Steam, that's going to be based off friends, and we'll probably do a big find out who's doing what, Settings, including controller configuration, and then equip, basic stuff. In run, you have your health and refillable potion status, your run level and experience progression, your gold total, current floor depth, and elapsed run time. 4 class ability icons, a cooldown feedback, essential combat stats effects. No minimap, room discovery is communicated through world visibility. You have to remember your way. It's only going to be 10 floors max. 10 rooms max per floor. I didn't see a point of a minimap. But if players want it, we may add it later. I don't know. Right now, it's a no. You have a level up screen. Anytime you level up, it'll be the same as the pause screen. You'll have a resume button once you're ready to start, but it will not be active until you spend your points and use everything that you have. So it's choose your ability, level up your stats, and then the resume button in the center becomes available to use. You also have a run summary on death. So it'll tell you, how far you were, how many rooms total, how long has elapsed, how many enemies you defeated, and give your total stats, and then give you experience based off how well you did. That adds to your class level. Art and presentation, we're going for a pixel art presentation, probably about 256 by 256 and scaled down, for the engine. I'm thinking it's top down. It's going to be pixel. That's kind of what the design that I had liked, and I think it's going to fit really well for the concept. Dark fantasy tone. Text should be restrained, translucent, and low detail to support dense builds. Launch scope and exclusions. So itch.io demo is going to be the warrior only representative, procedural room generation and exit discovery. And we may even only have a cap out like 10 rooms or something. Just make it a very minor demo so that if you want to play it, you'll understand what the remainder of the game is if you want to keep trying and unlock new stuff and try new stuff. Again, all these stuff here is some of it's set in stone and some of it can expand further, right? Because we have 3 classes, 3 different biomes. It'll be 3 different bosses, 1 for every biome. But again, as the game progresses and we get out of early access, those numbers are just going to keep going up. We'll keep programming more. What do we got here? Open content discussions and change control. So pretty much a lot of these are open right now. We're still figuring out some of the stuff by the way that we're wanting to do them, because it's going to take some bug squishing before we realize what really locks in and what works really well. And I'm sure some of the demo will be able to tell us information like that as well, what works. I think that should be about it. But yeah, that's the Deepest Delve. This is our game Bible that we'll be using to help make decisions moving forward from it. And I'm hoping to post periodic videos of the project and how it's moving forward. I'm hoping by the end of August to have a video up of a running demo, or at least the code. So, yeah. Thanks for stopping by.